Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV's podcast number 77. I'm your host, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy. We've got Miles Parkhill from Paragon here in our beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona studio. And, of course, we've got the beloved Johnny V at the controls.
Hi.
Back in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
That's me.
That's you.
That is me.
How's it going tonight, everyone?
It's good.
It's good.
It's good.
It's good now that
I'm warm here. How you feeling, Johnny? In there, cold?
Shut up. It's it's actually not too bad here. I ran outside once today to get something out of my car, and I actually did it in bare feet, so wasn't too bad. Concrete, I didn't run through any snow or anything, but.
Well, what's the weather? What are the temperatures? I know I've been giving everyone a hard time back home, but what have the temperatures been like back in Milwaukee for the last few days?
It's been mid-20s to mid-30s, and it's just supposed to get warmer. You're lucky when you come back on Sunday. I think it's supposed to be like 46, 54, 61 on Tuesday. We're trending up.
Well, I'm not saying we're bringing the sunshine, but
you're not.
Don't steal my sunshine. All right. Anyway, well, first and foremost, I'd like to apologize to anyone. We know we got off to a little bit of a late start tonight. Just so much running around, so much craziness. One of these days, we're going to have permanent studios in all these different cities.
Yeah.
And then it won't be this constant setup and breakdown and dismantling and all the things that we have to do. We are excited tonight. We're going to have a couple of really amazing guests. I know we're going to be talking to Patrick Brown. We're going to be talking to Philo Braithwaite. I think we're going to be talking to Steve Rico. So we've got a lot of amazing guests that are for sure lined up, and there may be a few extras that drop in. We're going to start off talking to Miles here from Paragon. But before we do any of that, I got to send a huge shout out to Josh and all the guys over at Booom. They've been super supportive of everything we've been doing. They stepped up at the last minute, said they wanted to be a broadcast sponsor. They're a podcast sponsor for tonight. So we have to send a huge shout out. We really appreciate the support, and we're looking forward to some big things as the SmashBoxx season moves on. All right, so we're going to talk with those guys a little later, but I want to first start with someone who's been incredibly helpful in so many different ways, and that is you, Mr. Parkhill. Miles.
Yeah, I do what I can.
You do what you can. Well, we've traveled out here to this event. Now, we've been sharing the house 4 years now?
Yeah, I think it's 4.
And many people see the Paragon logo. You've got an amazing team of people that you sponsor. And I know you work so hard with clubs. You work with doing bag tags. You work with tournaments. Really, you print anything for anyone.
Pretty much, yeah.
And what would you say is a way that you can help people the most when you're talking about some of your all the different things that you do? What way can you help them the most?
I think one thing we excel in for disc golf is helping clubs that maybe don't have a good design yet.
Okay.
We have some really great designers at the shop, and a lot of clubs bring in a design that might not be totally polished. And we've definitely helped some clubs put together some nice logos to represent disc golf in their local community, and look professional and look, a good representation, and not steal another logo possibly, or another basket or whatever.
That's exactly what I was gonna comment on. Sometimes we know when clubs and organizations are just getting started that they have a hard time coming up with something unique or original, and I've been the first to tell you that I see less than desirable designs, and we know a design can go a really long way. Yeah. And then your guys actually can step in and make that happen.
Yeah, no, we've done that a lot, and a lot of times people do just take maybe a DGA basket that they found on the Google image and put their name above and below it. And I've asked a few people, hey, let's make a different basket, and most of them are totally open to that and like, oh wow, we didn't know we could do that.
Well, the other day when I was speaking with you, when you had gotten things started, or when we even met just a number of years ago, you had 3, 4, 5 employees?
Yeah, it's grown quite a bit. We're up to 18 now.
18 employees. So doing big things in Springfield, Illinois, and you branch out. You've been doing apparel, bag tags, trophies, pretty much anything and everything. And you even collaborate with some other organizations and with other printers and whatnot, because not everybody can do all things.
Yeah.
And so I've seen you collaborate with others.
Yeah, no, it's the best way to do it to help the sport is seeing what we can do to better a tournament or better a club or better prizes for the AMs, whatever we can do.
Okay. Now, I don't know if this is a widely known fact,
Uh-oh.
but you also house and print on the Trotter boxes.
We do. We do.
Was that a secret?
Yeah, that was a secret.
Oh, darn it.
No, I don't think it's a secret at all. Actually, Jim is moving to Texas, so it's going to kind of be split. So we'll be doing all the custom printing still in Springfield. He'll be sending out all the stock boxes out of Texas probably later this year.
Okay.
So
wow.
he made a big move for a job, and that's what's going to happen. And we're going to keep it going because I think a lot of people like the boxes for storage, and, it works.
Well, I'm the first to say that I'm shocked how many boxes have moved. He's proven us wrong. But if you have a solid product and here's a box that stores discs and everything else.
I know it seems really simple and kind of stupid if you look at it, but a lot of people have a lot of discs.
And stacking them and storing them is underrated. Storing them correctly is underrated.
Yeah, yes, definitely. And putting them in poly bags and storing them and selling them and.
We should give away some. Jim, when you're ready to give some away, come on back. We'll give away some of your Trotter boxes. But anyway, one thing that we need to talk about before we let you go, and we're going to get some others on the show, one of the many things you're helping with, I spoke with Val Jenkins the other day. You're doing a ton of stuff for the Women's Global. I know you're running specials, and people can pre-order sweatshirts.
No, the sweatshirts and all the Women's Global stuff is online right now to buy.
Okay.
We are doing
available
team,
right now.
or I shouldn't say team, but club stuff. So if you want to have your Women's Global event have apparel, we're doing custom stuff for that. So you can have the Women's Global logo on it, add your club logo on the back or your event logo on the back, whatever you want to do, we'll work with you on it. And profits are going to Right to Play.
Women Ready to Play. Yeah, that's awesome. And then one of the things that we've worked with Miles, he's helped print things from backdrops to press passes and all sorts of things for us. But the latest, we've got a SmashBoxx, a brand new. Now this isn't, it's kind of dry fit-ish, but not really. It's more comfortable than most dry fit.
Yeah, it's has a little bit of stretch to it. It's a nice shirt. I think you'll like it.
I think I do love it.
Well, you already wore yours.
Yeah, I love it. So this is also available right on the website. This is a SmashBoxx T-shirt. What material is this?
Polyester.
It's a polyester.
Yeah,
so
it's polyester.
SmashBoxx, we're offering, you're offering free shipping right now. So go out, go to paragondiscgolf.com. Right there on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see a store button. Purchase yourself some Women's Global merchandise. Purchase yourself a SmashBoxx shirt. Proceeds for the SmashBoxx shirts go to helping us out on our broadcast. And if you haven't seen already, we could always use more help. A little bit.
A couple extra cords maybe to cause problems.
Yeah, a couple extra cords, a couple microphones.
Yeah.
So Johnny, before we let Miles go, we got to know how's everything sounding and everything looking out here?
Audio sounds pretty good. You guys are
implying that we don't look beautiful?
I'm implying that people can't tell how good you look. It's just
that's a problem.
It's a fuzz. It's a bit fuzzy, but I think it's a Skype bandwidth issue. There's only so much, so it downgrades it from 720 down to probably 480, and when we push it out at 720, so it's a bit fuzzy, but everyone can make everything out, and I can tell who's who, so that's really what matters. I'm not going to accidentally confuse Miles.
Can make out. You just said make everything out. So anyway, all right, Miles, we're going to cut you loose. Unless you got other things you'd like to share. I know you have a beautiful wife and daughter back home. Courtney's back home.
Hi, Courtney. Hi, baby.
Hi, Courtney. Thanks for supporting SmashBoxx. Thanks for watching. And Drew, your amazing little daughter.
Baby Drew.
Okay.
She's probably sleeping, hopefully, by now.
Hopefully. Or we'll be back up and then sleeping and then back up.
Something like that.
Something like that. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Thanks for all the help this week.
All right.
And we'll look forward to seeing you out on the course and for the rest of the weekend.
I'll go tell somebody else to come bug you.
Sure. Bring somebody in. All right. Let's do it. Thanks, buddy.
Later.
All right, Johnny. While he's doing that, let's go ahead and do a little bit what we can for some score recaps. I know we're going to have some top pros. We'll be talking scores. But let's take a look ourselves at some of the scores and things that were going on out there. Did you get a chance to investigate any of that today? I was busy. I don't know what you were doing.
I don't know what you were doing. I was busy. You were just walking around a course, not doing much.
Just out in the sun.
Yeah,
basking in the sun.
I'm in this little white room here. No, as far as scores go, we have. I'm looking at them right now, so I can say with confidence that going into this round, Nico Lacastro was in the lead.
Yes, was.
Unfortunately, Nico Locastro is no longer in the lead. Nico had a rough afternoon, only shot, I believe, a 3 down.
I thought it was 5, but okay.
Was it 5? Okay. Oh, I think I saw it.
Well, course par, yes, I think you're the par out there, I believe, was 56.
Yeah.
So what I saw was a 51.
Okay. So yeah, I think I had looked at that as far as a number goes. So that, and so he dropped a few cards, but coming out of, I can't say nowhere, Matt Oram leaps up, shooting the hot round of 43. Which, let me find out what that's rated here. I'm going to use the right mouse. And it is a 1065 rated round. So Matt Oram comes out with a 1065 rated, which I was kind of surprised at how it's not a very good rating for that amount. So,
well,
I mean, it's a deuce or die course.
A lot of birdies that are available out there.
It's a small SSA. I understand that, and it just seems like when you're 3 strokes, I guess. Better. I always think if you're 3 strokes better than Macbeth, you should have a better than a 1065. I mean, that's kind of my thought. Followed up by Paul, then Nate Sexton, and my pick, who I'm hoping keeps pushing, and I think we'll get to talk to him later. Philo. I picked him to take third this week, so I'm hoping he's riding that hot streak.
Okay, well. Speaking of Team Booom and a bunch of great play, I'm joined here by none other than Patrick Brown. Patrick, all our Smashies out there, say hi.
Hello.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. We were just, Johnny V and I were just recapping a few of the details that we saw, at least in the Opens division, but we're glad you could join us because now you can give us a perspective of what's going on in Masters. That's where you are playing this week.
Yes, sir.
Because you could dominate an Open.
Sure.
All right. Patrick Brown's joined us here. Now, what is going on in the Open division? I'll scroll down to find some of the results, but what do you know?
Open or Masters?
I'm sorry, Masters. Correction. Masters, yes.
Masters division. Well, Kenny's still leading,
okay.
Obviously. It's Kenny. George Smith's playing really well. Shasta Chris is actually playing up in there, too. He said he has best round today that he's played at Fountain. I shot an 8 down bogey free, left a couple on the stretch, as I usually do over there, for some reason on the easier holes once you got away from the water. But yeah, everybody's really coming together and having fun. It's been a great weekend, good weather, not too windy, and no rain so far. So
no rain, and from what I believe, there's no rain in the forecast either.
Yeah, they're calling for high 90s and stuff. So we were really lucky to get some overcast today, which I'm sure at Fiesta, since it's one of the shadier courses, the Open, we're still enjoying the venue. But it was good for us just to have some overcast and not get as burnt as you could get.
Yeah, well, speaking as a guy, now you're from California. You reside there and you hang out there most of the time when you're not on tour. Coming here isn't quite the vacation it is for some others. Is that fair to say?
Well, for
at least weather-wise.
Yeah, weather-wise. Well, we don't get hot like Southern California. I live in San Francisco, so it relatively stays 65. So this is a little out of my element. But I have a good family, friends that stay here, the Thomases. Shout out to them. They always have a truck and a couple places for me to stay. And I kind of come out early. I came out Wednesday and skipped GCC, I think it is, just to be out here and spend some time with them and more enjoy the area around here.
Well, now, so as you're saying, we're looking at this leader card that you're going to be at 242 tomorrow, and you're going to be playing over at Fiesta, which should be a relatively quick or short round. Quicker than, well, we'll definitely say quicker than out at Vista, for instance. So much quicker
hours,
there. Exactly. So, but sitting on the leader card, as you said, Climo at 17, Smith at 14, that's George Smith, and yourself and Shasta at 12. And then lingering right there, we've got Jonathan Baldwin, of course, 2011 world champ, and then Jason Barella. I think I've heard that name before.
Yeah.
And then Justin McLuhan, DJ Ellis, and there's kind of a drop once you get around 7th place. You're looking at 8 under, and then there's a 4-stroke gap between them and everyone else.
But what are those ratings right there?
Okay, so what I'm pulling up unofficial ratings here. It shows that your 8 under today was a 1034. Does that feel about right to you?
Yeah, I mean, for what I know, there's struggles out there to be had by anybody. It's Fountain. There's the intimidation of the water, the fluctuation of the wind, as we've been feeling each day. You can go out one side of the course and it's headwind, and come in the other side of the course and it's headwind. And so you're kind of wondering, how does this happen? But like I said, I just feel like the cream's going to rise, and obviously Kenny being top player, he's always going to be top playing. It's this type of course, Florida Open, stuff like that. Not that he's not good in the woods. I'm never taking anything away from Kenny, champ. But I feel that even if people struggle, there's going to be some people rising to the top that should be up there. And so I felt happy to do what I did, but I definitely. My caddy said I should have 12 or 13 today to try to catch Kenny, which I expected Kenny to do another 10.
Sure,
so,
sure.
Yeah.
Well, so obviously some consistent play by really everyone, like we said in the top. We're halfway through. You got Kenny.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Right now, you're down 5 to Kenny. I know you battle him fiercely as well as the others that are up there. Does that mean anything being up or down by 5 halfway through? Does that mean anything to you? Is that extra pressure on you, thinking you got to get it in gear?
I don't really go with pressure. I just go with feeling of play, and if I'm playing good, I mean, obviously tomorrow going to the Fiesta, you better have an A game coming. You better not be playing B or C, because you'll be back behind just because there are 200-foot holes in a national tour event, which is, you better not be off. So. I mean, there's always added pressure with Kenny. I mean, the guy owns like every title in the world. He's like the Tiger Woods of disc golf. So, I mean, and then George Smith, I've seen George just light this place up and methodically putting, and looks like he's going to sleep, and he's just meditating in putts. And
doing a little rocking back and forth, and next thing you know.
And he doesn't miss. So, and Shasta's his first events in the Masters, so I know he's really hyped to try a new aspect of the game and stuff, and not be so pressured to be dealing with kids. You got Barella out there. Obviously, we got Barella playing good in the Masters, but his son is obviously a big factor in the game today. And then Simon and Paul and all these people, all the names you always hear, Will and everybody. So it takes a little pressure up, but it's not like we're playing against easy people. I mean, there's still Kenny's knocking down 1065s and stuff. So I mean. The ratings are ratings. They speak for the player. So it's just a matter of the win or having a good day or a bad day, and just not letting it affect you and just keep going. I personally don't try to measure myself up to anybody. I'm only out there to play as well as I can play, and represent the companies that represent me, and try to represent the game in the best way I can, especially nowadays, like kind of maturing into the game. Being it's my 6th year now playing Open or pro divisions. Yeah. So,
well, and speaking of representing companies, you did have a little bit of a shift this year. We see you with a new company in Latitude 64, and then obviously the shout out to Booom. Talk a little bit about what you got going on.
Wow. Yeah. I just, Latitude came with a deal I couldn't pass up with, against other companies, and the quality of plastic. Obviously, like Johnny says, it's the archer, not the arrow. So for me, it's brought a new challenge. I'm not playing comfortably with the disc that I've had for 10 to 13 years, and everything's kind of like a new challenge every day. And then Booom, I can't say enough, with Josh Barnhill, taking care of me, trying to, help me in the game and help me succeed in the game with, support through money. About to have some custom hats come out, and custom shirts, custom disc, Latitude, coming with a lot of support, besides Dynamics, getting me back to my old family. I was with Dynamic before they did the split because of Innova and everything like that. So I'm feeling comfortable. I won't say I'm 100%. Obviously, I've only had the bag for a month and a half, but I have been shooting in the 1030s and everything. But yesterday at Vista with a few OBs, maybe 6 penalties, which would have kept me with Kenny. But I'm feeling good. Like Kenny, everybody says it's there's time and place for everything. There's sometimes you got to make a step, and I just felt that this was a time to make a step and look to the future. So if you want to get your gear tight and keep your head right, get with Booom, and you want to throw some nice different plastic and try a different company, check out Latitude, Westside, or Dynamic, because they've got a lot of great molds. They've got a lot of good quality plastic, and I see a lot of people really, look at Johnny. He's my age, and he's out there smashing. So there's no back to the archer and the arrow. So.
Yep, and I'll touch real briefly on Johnny. I know you guys have really had a continued bonding and friendship over the last couple of years. Are you going to be traveling or touring with him at all? Him and Jen, is that kind of the plan?
Oh, yeah. Jen and Jen and Johnny are like straight family. The cats, one of their cats doesn't really respond to a lot of people on Junior. Shout out to Junior. He's my new friend on the tour. I'll be doing between GBO and Kansas City. We'll be hanging out, and then definitely between Minnesota Majestic, Worlds, Ledgestone, and the Hambrick. I'm not trying to take up all their space, so I'm gonna do about a month and a half with them there, like I did last season. Me and Johnny just always got together. You know, we've always just vibed. Jen's just a great person. They're just good people, and so good people get with good people, and we vibe. So. Plus, he's just a great inspiration, you know, for what he's been through with the Lyme disease, the different sickness and stuff. And he's out there living the dream, and I'm trying to do the same. So,
Well, I've seen that kind of develop, and you guys strengthen your relationship, and now having the same companies as a backer, just a lot of that makes a lot of sense to me, and I think that's awesome.
yeah.
So, well, we've said it a couple of times, and we'll say it again. In fact, Johnny, I think just in a few moments here, unless you have any other questions for Patrick, we can let him go. But as he's on his way out, do you have anything in the queue from Booom?
I do. Hold on one second. Let's get something queued up here. This is going to be their new spot
before we let him go.
What was that?
Do you have anything else for Patrick before we let him go?
No, I think Patrick's been representing pretty well his new company, and I think he's gonna give Kenny a run later this week. I honestly do.
Well, that's I know that's what he's here for. A lot of people want to just hand it over to Kenny because he is the man, but people like Patrick get in his way every once in a while. So looking forward to the battle as it unfolds throughout the rest of the week. All right, pal. Appreciate it. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Terry.
Right,
Thanks, SmashBoxx, and everybody that keeps disc golf going and keeping the family alive and keep the sport growing. I look forward to the future, and you guys are doing a great job. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, take care, pal.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin up a brand new Booom commercial that I've only seen once when I downloaded it today as they sent it to us. We haven't played it on the broadcast at all. So
okay, make sure it's at the right volumes then. Can you do that?
I double checked, so we'll see how it goes. All right, so here's the what is it? The premiere, the grand,
the world
premiere of Booom commercial number 2. Welcome back. That was the world premiere of the Booom commercial. I saw a couple familiar faces in there.
And Johnny, I'm not going to lie. Here on our internet, we're conserving what we can. Yeah. Break down the commercial for everyone.
It was a Booom commercial. If you saw their first commercial, it's very similar to their last one. This one more highlighted, I believe, some of their players. So I did see, like, say, Batman was in there. I didn't get it. I don't think Patrick Brown was in there because there was a lot of guys in there that went by pretty fast. But overall, it's a pretty cool commercial.
All right. Well, again, thank you, Josh and Booom. And we're moving over. He's affectionately known by me and now so many others as Little Spoon. How you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Good, good. Now, of course, out there, for everyone that doesn't know, this is, in fact, the man, Steve Rico, PDGA number 4666. And, Steve, we're here at another Memorial Championships. It's the 28th annual. I'm guessing you've been here for 25 of them?
Yeah, probably. My first year here, I was 12 years old, so yeah.
12 years old, and
yeah,
okay,
close.
So yeah, that's almost exactly 25. That was a guess, but we're 25 of them. So we're halfway through the event. We just talked to Patrick. He's talking about having to chase down Kenny, which everybody has had to do in the previous years in Open, but we're halfway through, and tomorrow you're getting it together.
I hope so. It's been a kind of a rough start for me. I played some great golf the first day. Nothing really fell my way. Had some great shots that just trickled out of bounds and rollaways and that kind of thing. And then got off to a slow start today. And if you start off slow out there at Fiesta Lakes, then it's hard to come back from it. So.
Yeah, one thing that would be said, it's a lot of people will tell you it's a scoring course, and there's a lot of opportunities to get twos. And you really got to kind of get on that train early, it's kind of like Vista in the sense, like, all right, the first 5 or 6 holes, let's gear up. You got to get 3 or 4 of them, or right. 2 or 3 of them, or whatever it is. And if you're not doing that, you feel like you're falling behind.
Right. Yeah, the start's really important out there. I've told a couple guys that asked me, I'm like, the start's important. The first 6, 7 holes is the most important part of that course. So if you start off well, you'll finish well. If you don't, then it's hard to come back from it. So.
Well, one thing that we noticed is that when you're out there and there's so many people around and you've got different weather conditions, everyone kind of takes to it a little differently. We saw it today. Katrina Allen was struggling a little bit, and how she as a professional reacts to that versus how, a Simon Lizotte or yourself. Everybody kind of reacts a little bit differently. Some people will, I'll say clam up. Some people will kind of explode. We see a lot of different responses. Do you have any tips? Anything that someone can do when you're not in the zone and you're struggling to find it? Do you got any tips or pointers?
You just got to stay patient, and believe in what you're doing out there. I mean, just go out there and have a good time. And we're playing disc golf. We're in parks and whatever happens. But we're doing what we love, and there's a lot of other things you can be doing out there. I mean,
you could be pouring concrete.
I pour concrete every day. And I'm out here and I didn't play very well, but you know what? I'm doing what I love. So, just embrace it and just do your best out there. But take it for what it is. Where everybody's out there, a lot of players are doing this for a living, and just be glad you're not out there pouring concrete.
Well, it's no secret. You've been one of the hardest working men in disc golf. You see your top competitors. You see a Macbeth and a Wysocki and all these other people that dedicate, and I don't want to say have the luxury, but have dedicated themselves to full-time on tour and full-time practicing. And that's just not the reality for you. You guys have a family-run business. Your brother Bamba and the rest of the crew back in Silmar are pouring concrete during the day, and then at night you're making plastic. You're making frisbees, as you guys love to say. You're making frisbees over at Legacy.
Right.
It's a busy lifestyle.
Yeah, it's tough. We work hard. We play hard, and I wouldn't take it back. I love what I do. I get a lot of pleasure of watching people throw our discs and throw great shots with them. I love going out there and competing and watching people. I mean, just seeing Legacy shirts out there. I mean, that I take all that to heart. I love it, and I thank every one of them out there who support us. So when I go out there and play, I had a rough day, but you know what? I mean, all in all, I love what I do, and I wouldn't take it back for anything.
Now, one of the things that you guys did last year, are huge supporters of the Wisconsin tour, where we've done so many different events, and specifically the Mad City Open. And I know this year you're also involved with the Pro Tour, and there's a lot of hype around the Pro Tour. Steve Dodge is an amazing individual. He spent a few days here, and he's been supportive of what I'm doing and as a disc golf guy, what our company is doing at SmashBoxx. You're going to find you guys in Manitowoc supporting the Silver Cup. You're the title sponsor there. Last year you toured a lot. As much touring or only certain events?
I'm going to take it easy this year. I got to pick and choose my events. I'm going to play the important ones, but yeah, we're a big part of the Pro Tour. Steve Dodge is doing a great job. The guy's a stud, what he's doing out there. He's obviously got you guys out there who are...
Aw, thanks. Right? Thank you.
Little spoon.
Nothing but the best.
Right? You guys are the best at what you do, and I look forward to it. It's going to be a big year for the Pro Tour, and I'm really excited for what's going to happen.
And here we are. We're kicking off the national tour. The PDGA obviously has invested so much time and energy and effort in building up these events throughout the last 10 to 12, 15 years. You, in fact, my friend, here's some trivia that I know has been talked about once or twice before. Mr. Steve Rico here is the first ever national tour winner, La Mirada. Is that correct?
I don't know. It's been so long.
We're gonna say that it is. Everybody should know that it is. What is that feeling? I mean, the national tour, these other tours. I mean, you've been grinding for a lot of years, buddy.
Yeah, I won the first national tour ever. I never really thought of it like that, but it was. I look back at it. It was it was a great feeling. It was awesome, and now we're back at La Mirada, starting off the world tour, and hopefully I can do something like that again. We'll see.
All right. When you think about some of your favorite places to play disc golf, you've literally been a world traveler. You've won in Japan, a major in Japan. When you think immediately of a place I'd really love to get back to, if I had anywhere to go play a tournament, 2 months from now, is there any place that jumps out at you?
I love playing golf in Oregon. I love the Beaver State Fling. Japan is also an amazing experience out there. So I really love that. But yeah, I mean those couple of places. I love the Masters Cup. Actually I love this time of year right
Okay.
now. The start of this year, all the events, everything that's going on, everybody's getting back in the swing of things. So I really enjoy this part of the year.
Okay. And as we move on, someone's asking, even out on the board, any opinions? We know where you stand on the World Tour. We know where you stand on the National Tour and the Pro Tour, the American Disc Golf Tour. The conversation about ESPN, does any of that strike you in any way?
I don't know a whole lot about it. I've been
Okay.
kind of out of the loop with things, not just with the American Tour, but the whole tour. I've been really working a lot on legacy and doing the icon company business. So I've kind of been out of the loop with things, but yeah, I'm sure I'll attend the American Tour and I'll be there. So I mean, I'm still gonna.
You're going to be at the American Tour
Yes, I will be there. I'm
in
gonna
May 14th and 15th, 13, 14,
in
15
Carolina, right?
in South Carolina.
Yeah. So I plan to be there, and yeah, I mean, even though I got a lot of work going on, everything I got ahead of me, I plan to still attend some of the big events, and yeah, I mean, I'm gonna still strive to be the best I can.
Okay, that's news to me. You should be running your travel plans past me.
Yeah.
Okay. Where else are we going to see you though? Name a few other.
I mean, I'm gonna play the Worlds. I'll be at Rock Hill. I'll play a few of the Pro Tour events, a couple of the World Tour,
Okay.
the American Tour, and then
National Tour.
There's a lot going on out
Okay.
there.
So
but,
you'll be at more things than you won't.
Yeah, I'm
But
gonna.
just not quite as hard as last year when you
No.
really went hard.
Yeah, I won't be traveling for like 3-4 months like I did last year. I'm gonna pick and choose my tournaments, but with everything going on, I'm gonna try to play as most of the important tournaments as I can, and then maybe just some local stuff. So
Okay.
we'll see how it goes.
Well, without a doubt, one of the hardest working and one of the busiest men in all of disc golf. And then he shows up and plays really well at tournaments. He's going to be turning it on for the last 2 rounds here. I know at this tournament. It's fair to say you rarely see something like 45th next to your name. Rarely.
Yeah, it was pretty rough to look at,
Okay.
But
I'm not rubbing it in. This is the Smashbox bump and motivation.
But you know what? I'm only like 4 or 5 strokes from like top 15 or something.
Exactly.
So
It's very tight.
It's not much, And then like the more golf I play, the better I get, especially because I haven't put in a lot of rounds this year so far. So I'm looking forward to the next couple rounds, and I'll be fine.
Yeah, I know you will. You're going to be out at Vista tomorrow. I see you throwing down like a 48-ish.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, that's what I had in mind too.
Okay, well, that sounds good to me. A 48. Have another strong showing out at Fountain, and next thing you know.
Top 10.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Can we send a shout out to all the boys back home? I think you'd get yelled at if we weren't shouting out to guys like Valencia and Bamba, who played in Gentlemen's Club.
Yeah, shout out to the Legacy crew back there, all the Bakersfield guys, man. Like those guys support us to the fullest, man. I love all those guys, man, and just everybody that supports disc golf. I don't care what company you throw, just support the game, support disc golf, and just pump it up in your area as much as you can. Johnny V doing all the behind the scenes work,
The easy stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that easy stuff. I'm not the one at the bar all night. You are.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no, man. I just no matter what, just support disc golf and just blow it up as much as you can, guys.
Well, I hope
All right.
I hope we get Rico at our Pro Tour event here in Wisconsin. So,
What's that? I'm sorry.
are you going to be at the Pro? Do you know if you're going to be at the Pro Tour event here in Wisconsin?
At Manitowoc, correct? Silver
Yes,
Cup.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Awesome! I cannot wait then.
All right. Well, unless you got anything else, we can cut you loose, buddy.
That's all I got. So
What time you teeing off tomorrow?
I don't know. I gotta check the tee time.
All right. All right.
So.
All right, Johnny, you got anything else for our boy here?
Nope.
Oh, and I'm not going to lie. We did the Yuli's Picks, kind of a fantasy league that we're kind of starting up here every week where everybody makes their picks.
Okay.
He jinxed you.
You get 4 of them,
Okay.
and I'm just going to tell you you're one of my 4. So
I better be, guy. Come on.
come on, you need to
Yeah.
let's just say the next 2 days are both moving days for
All
you.
right, you got it.
Like,
you got it.
wait, like trim off one of the digits in your place right now, the 4 or the 5. Trim off one of those.
Not one of the digits in his score.
No, just one of the digits in his place. You know, 4th, 5th, somewhere in there. Just trim off that 4 or the 5, and we're good.
You got it.
You'll do that for me?
I'm on it. I'm on it.
All right, we're gonna cut him loose. We appreciate you stepping in the Smash Box, joining us. It goes without saying, or we can't say it enough. Legacy was one of the first companies that said we want to support the efforts that you guys are doing, and you guys did just that 2 years ago. Look where our silly asses are now. I mean, come
right?
on.
I mean, look at you guys.
Look at us.
You guys are the best. Best in the business.
Yeah, well, we're almost the only ones. But
Well,
that's,
I mean, Johnny, you're one of the best in the business.
Thanks, Steve. I appreciate that.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
All right, thanks,
All right, there
guys.
you go, ladies and gentlemen.
I
This
love
is
you
Steve
guys.
Rico, Legacy Disc. Thanks for joining us, buddy.
You got it. Thank you.
All right, don't trip on your way out. We got to keep letting people know that.
You got it.
Okay.
Really, there's a tripping hazard tonight too.
Yeah, there's a couple of different tripping It's
Yeah, I
just
just
the
watched
nature of
Patrick
how
do
we
it.
set things up. So very nice. Thanks again for Steve Rico for joining us. Your tea time, or Smashies tell you it's 12:26, Steve. Steve, your tea time is 12:26. So thanks to all the Smashies for
I was
letting
gonna
everybody know.
mention that, but then you guys started hugging and it got awkward. So
Yep, come on in. And without further ado, we got another superstar here. One of the reasons that's so great about being at Duke's and at this tournament is we have so many great players, and yet another Booom representative in the house. Also the Gentlemen's Club Challenge champion, GCCC.
and future third place this weekend.
Current-
I'm hoping.
Third place. Oh, that's where he's got you in the picks.
I made some picks, and
Joining us now is
if
Philo Braithwaite. How you doing,
Philo
buddy?
takes third, I get a couple points.
We're doing good, and there was a lot of conversation. You're coming off of a win at the GCC. People wanted to talk about where you might fit into the top 4 here, because we're picking the top 4 players right now. You're sitting tied for 4th, if my math is
Third,
correct.
I believe,
Tied
yeah.
for 3rd.
How about that?
How about that?
Yeah.
So right now, I think Johnny had you in 3rd.
All right, that's
That's
right,
where
where
you're
I
sitting
picked him.
halfway. Tell us about how the first 2 rounds have treated you.
I just say the word clean. First round at the fountain, mighty clean. I missed a couple little putts. I had 2 3Ps, one on hole 7, one on 18. Those could have been avoided. I think the one on 7, I just got a little excited about the shot and just a little bit too much energy on it and almost aced it and sailed right out. But that was an easy tap in. And 18, I thought I threw a great shot, but that hole's been my nemesis every year here. For some
Really?
reason, it comes in just left of the basket and trickle, OB, pin high, and cash that in for a 3 also.
Wow, save
I
the
lost
circle
my
3.
disc, yeah.
And then you saved the circle 3 back
Circle
on
three
7
on
as
7,
well?
So
Okay.
no bogeys, playing clean, taking them where I can get them, making some putts.
Wow,
having some
that-
fun if I can.
That's impressive. And just real quick, during our live broadcast yesterday, Macbeth started out 6 for 6.
Wow.
And then we watched him throw. He got aggressive. He had a 45 footer on 7, and he went for it and put it in the drink.
Damn.
So he actually took a 4 on that. So you wouldn't think, you start out with 6 for 6 on that course, and then the best player in the world takes a 7 on the
Or
shortest
4
hole
on
on
it,
it. But that just
Bogey,
proves,
yeah.
anything can happen out there
Yeah,
on these
absolutely.
courses. So today we moved over Fiesta. There was obviously a lot of talk because we were covering the women, and we'll get into that conversation later. But no matter what, there's great golf being played out there.
Absolutely.
Tell us about your round.
I started 5 for 5. I was thinking that all night, all morning before on the ride over. If I get off to that hot start, 5 for 5, I should have a good day. I should have a good round, and there's a lot of talent. So I figured I'm going to be in the mix somewhere. And at this point, I'm not too concerned with exactly what the number is, as long as I'm in the battle. That's a great place to be. I mean, halfway through, you're still in the mix. It's basically almost being even. It's
Yep.
a 2-round tournament now, and I'm just playing golf.
Yeah.
I'm playing golf. I'm throwing shots where I'm aiming and making some putts when I need to, and that's what the game's all about: is making those 30-footers when you got them and when the pressure's on. So I don't know what's changed this year for me. I really don't know. Maybe it's just the experience level's up, and I've been through this for 10 seasons now, and it's just becoming a little bit more natural even when I'm anxious to make the putts and to still
stay in my little pocket of what I'm supposed to do.
So when we're looking, again, there's so much talk about tours, and
Right.
what's interesting to us, I mean, we talk about the tours, we talk about what's going on with them, but I
Yes.
love hearing when people say, oh, everyone's excited about them. That's just become obvious.
Right.
But when people tell us where they're going to focus their efforts, you know, oh yeah, I'm going to hit them all, or I'm going to hit all of those and a couple of those, or
Right.
you know, does it change up your game plan? We've seen you all over the country.
Yeah.
Does the idea of a tour mean something to you, or are you just still good with hitting the events you really want to hit, regardless of what they're involved with?
I've been doing a bit of that every season. I'll stick to kind of the bread and butter tours, the Santa Cruz, the Beaver States, you know, most of the PDGA national tours,
Okay.
and then try to hit something else in the mix on the way, on the road, in between, just to mix it up and try something new, go somewhere different. And it's going to be pretty much the same this year. I don't have too many wild plans or any specific plans in particular. I want to go to this one. It's like a pro tour or world tour. Wherever they fit it in the schedule, whatever I can afford to get to, I'm going to be there.
Now, our previous guest, Steve Rico, I know when Johnny V and I were out kind of getting into the scene and actually playing disc golf way back in the day, we saw Steve Rico as one of your fellow travel mates, someone you'd frequently roll with. Is there any, I mean, I don't want to say we see cliques, but there's clearly, you know, natural travel partners that travel around. Is there anyone that you're traveling with or think you're going to be traveling with this year? Do you kind of have a crew of people that you're normally with, or not so much?
It's been pretty random. It has.
I mean,
been.
we're a big Frisbee family.
It is a big family. So some events, some people are going. Some events, some people aren't going. So you just kind of network with the guys and talk and see who's going where and where you get in, where you can fit in. The last couple of big road trips, I've been hanging with Nico, and we've been having a lot of fun. And it's been actually a good thing for me playing with him because he pushes me. Him being a damn good player and a mighty talented young man. It's nice to watch what he does and pick up little pieces of technique from him and remind myself of what I'm supposed to do sometimes, you know, when it comes to really ripping discs out there and getting them up in the air and whatnot. And he just has such pure lines. It's fun to watch him practice. And, you know, it's nice even to play with him in tournament rounds. It's rare, but it's nice when we do match up.
Well, and that was going to be my next question is when we're talking about competitors,
Right.
Let's talk about today. Who is in your group? How are they shooting? You know, was there any vibes back and forth as to feeding off anything?
I played with Zach Melton, Dave Felberg, and Posse Koivu today. Felberg got off to a rough start. He just, I don't know, I think something's wrong with him physically. He's just not feeling 100%. And it's understandable. I mean, when you're not feeling right, it's hard to really be in the mood to play disc golf. So you kind of have to let that one slide and not really take it with, you know, take it with a grain of salt. He's not feeling right. It's not like he just played a terrible round of golf.
Sure.
Posse Koivu, same thing, kind of got off to a slow start, just barely clipping little limbs here and there, iron leafs on his way into the baskets and leaving them with longer putts than he wanted, and, you know, little things like that. And then Melton was coming out strong as well. I think he got 4 of the first 5, and then he didn't have a 4. I had 2 4s back-to-back, 6 and 7. Melton had no 4s. I guess he shot a 46, so he had 8 2s. He played clean, you know, clean living. He did miss a couple little ones here and there, but I mean, he didn't make any big mistakes. Nothing that cost him send you backwards, you know. And we were vibing. I think Posse, he's pretty quiet. I get, you know, a little sometimes out there on the golf course, you know, like I'm in my little zone trying to figure out what I'm doing and, you know, trying to stay in my own little zone and stay focused because I still get anxious even 10 years in playing any event. Sometimes you're super comfortable. Some days you're a little anxious and a little nervous of what's going to transpire that day, and all you can really do is just take one hole at a time, one shot at a time. And I had a couple of weird shots in there. I think it was a hole 7, 8, so 9 and 10. 9, I threw a terrible sidearm on a short hole. I had left myself a death putt, and I was super mad. And I'm walking around behind the guys, cussing at myself, and, you know, trying to figure out what I'm going to do if I'm going to run this putt or lay it up. And I walk up there, and I'm like, I have to make this putt. I need to get the momentum going, and off to the races from there. Finished up strong and end up tied for 3rd. You know, just sometimes it works out that way. You never know what's going to happen. You can just, all you have to do is play your holes, play your shots, play your game, and you're going to fit in where you're going to get, you know, you're going to be where you're going to be at the end of the round. You can't really worry about it too much and look at the numbers all around.
Well, to steal a line from our pals over at Legacy and Steve Rico, play with confidence. And, you know, like you said, sometimes it's that one hole, it's that one shot.
can propel you.
Exactly. It kind of
Or
gets
it
the
can,
juices going.
Yeah, sometimes it can set you back. You just never know. I mean, this game is so random. You get those rolls that, bounce off the basket and leave you with a 35-footer when you're just putting for birdie, and it just can mess with your mind if you're not in the right mental space and feeling your game and being like, that was a terrible break, but I can make this putt. So lately it's been the latter for me. I bounced back from a bunch of weird little breaks over in Vegas and stuff like that. Had a couple shots I thought were perfectly thrown, drift out of bounds, and then scrap my way to a par just because I'm not going to give up on it. And that's what it takes. I mean, these guys are super talented, so you got to really be stingy out there.
You can't, as you said earlier regarding Zach, you're not. He didn't have any setbacks. You're not giving any back. And anytime you're taking a bogey, or even sometimes those maybe easier par fours,
right?
You got to make sure that you're not giving away strokes.
No.
And Nico, and not to pick on him, but I got there just in time to see the leader card tee off today.
Yes.
And Nico kind of just let it go a little light and found himself on the OB green of hole 1. And I think we can all safely say hole 1 is one of the easiest holes on the national tour this year. And
that probably was just a little anxiety.
Yeah.
Maybe he was a little hyped up and was like, I better not overjuice it, You just never know. This game is so finicky sometimes. You can feel 100% and throw it 5% shot.
So for those that don't know or haven't had conversations about Philo on tour, a lot of people talk about how you're incredibly mellow. That's all of your overall demeanor, of course. Right. You're mellow, you're calm, you're usually, having a good time out there and everything's going as it is. I'd like to ask you then, who do you jive with in a group? Is there any kind of behavior that either does or doesn't, like, you're like, I could do without that, or is there, or if you want to just stay positive and, maybe name a couple people you really enjoy playing with for whatever reasons.
Well, I'll start by saying this. I don't want to be hypocritical when it comes to that stuff, because I know I've had my moments where I'm in a funk and
sure,
I'm kicking dirt and kicking rocks and wanting to do more, and I'm frustrated, and it happens. Mm-hmm. It's an emotional game. We're out there putting our passion on the line, and we're really doing our best. We want to do our best. We want to perform. We practice and we work really hard at this skill. And you have those moments where you're just like, God, what am I doing? And you want to try to figure it out real quick because you don't have a lot of time and you're in the crunch. But there's a lot of guys I like playing. I can't think of a guy I don't in particular like playing with. I've been in a bunch of different cards with a bunch of different guys over the years, and when a guy gets down, I would like, in the good sportsmanship, for someone to go and pick him up. If it's not going to be me, another guy, go, come on, man, shake it off, let's keep rolling. Or if I'm having a rough time, for somebody to come on, smack me on the back with a disc, come on, buddy, shake it off, there's plenty of holes to play. That's the spirit of the game, that just being a competitor. I really appreciate that when those moments happen, and I don't mind being that guy for a dude who's struggling. I think Posse was having a rough time, and I was like, come on, let's go, and he snapped into it. All of a sudden he's popping off nice rollers and making some putts here and there and kind of getting back in the rhythm. So not being enemies, or we're competing against each other, but it doesn't mean we have to hate each other or not like each other.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you want to see everybody have a good round, and you want to play better than them, but you don't want to wish them bad.
Well, and a lot of people will say this. When you win a tournament, or when you do well at a tournament, or whether it's the best in the world in a Macbeth or anyone else, you want to beat them on their best day. That feels better. You don't want somebody to have a really bad day and you be like, I got the best of them on their worst. You want them to play well. You just, like you said, you want to play a little bit better.
You want to do a little better. Exactly.
And that's, I think, a perfect way to look at it. So
absolutely.
Now we're talking about Josh. Josh stepped up to help out with both the podcast and the broadcast.
Excellent.
And I know he's working with you guys. Talk about your relationship with Booom and what it means to you.
Wow. Yeah, it's been really cool, man. Booom, just kind of a random thing, nice. Just really, it's just people. We just met randomly, and started talking, started jiving, and found out we just liked hanging out with each other as friends and just talking. And next thing you know, he's telling me about this idea he's got for a business, and, would I like to be a part of it? And I'm like, why not? That sounds cool. I love the logo. I love the name. And what better word could you use to describe disc golf than boom?
Well,
it just works so well.
And I'll follow that up by saying, do you feel like it would have come across as a little odd if he's picking up a guy that only throws like 280 feet as opposed to a guy who throws much further like you?
I
or
mean,
no?
it's his company, so I mean, I'm not going to tell him
No,
what
I'm just
to do, but
no.
yeah.
I know what I'm saying is the compliment is that you
Yeah.
throw far.
I
That's
throw
what I was
kind of
getting
far. You know, I'm not that long of a thrower. I'm
Okay.
tapped out around 450 most days. That's kind of my range. So that's a good thing. I mean, it keeps me out of trouble.
at. Yeah, you maybe don't have to worry about. I mean, like you said,
It makes
practicing.
decision making really easy.
Exactly. I was going to
you
say
know?
practicing with someone like Nico,
Yeah,
who
and
maybe
I'm like, I'm not going to do that. You know, like, come on. You know, I'm going to throw it right over there, and I'm going to throw it over there and make my 3, and you're going to go for a 2, you know, which is a risky 2.
Yep.
I might get a 3, you might get a 4.
It keeps you in check.
Well, I know my limitations.
Okay, that's
I've been
that's a
at this
perfect
a
way to
while
word it.
now. I know my limitations, and when I see something and I'm like, I'm just going to do the smart thing. I'm going to take my best shot.
That
I'm not
makes
Simon. I'm not Nico. You know, I'm going to take Philo's best shot.
There you
and
go.
We'll live with that.
I think that's a compliment that was given to me many years ago. Was just said that I play within my game.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of people need to do that, no
Absolutely.
matter what your game is, whether it's
Yeah, fear
Macbeth's
strong.
1055
Yeah.
game or a 1020 game or a
Whatever it
920
is.
game.
Yeah.
Play within your own game.
You're going to save yourself a lot of strokes, I guarantee you.
All right. So
But back to the Boom thing.
Yeah,
I
go
didn't
ahead,
want
go
to
ahead.
get away from that.
No,
but,
go ahead.
Yeah, basically, Josh just approached me about it and asked, you know, if I'd like to be a part of it. And then we just started brainstorming on ideas like, what do we think would be cool? What do we think people would want to attach themselves to? What do you think people would wear? And we just went from there. And then how could we make it, you know, how could we make it personal to you, Philo? You know, what do you think would be something people would really, you know, find appealing? And I was like, well, let's throw the OG insignia on there, you know, with your Boom style and, you know, stuff that I like, you know, the camouflage or the black and gold or the, you know, whatever, just trying to be creative, really, you know, and just kind of break away from the norm, you know, and do something a little different. And I think the name really speaks for itself and the style and what we're going for. I think that's all it is, just trying to give something people would like, you know, and, you know, being a player that has fans, you know, it's nice to be able to communicate when you have something and you throw it up online and people are coming at you. And it's a cool way just to interact with people too. And, you know, just let people know that some of us pros, you know, I think most of us for the most part, we're pretty down to earth, but, you know, we're just normal people like you know, we just want to connect and thank you for paying attention and, you know, supporting the sport. And we're moving, we're growing. So it's awesome.
Well, and one thing that blew me away is I watched the time-lapse video that was done in order to how to make some of the graphics that they've made, you know, that you had,
John
you know.
Hollingshed, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, John, thanks for the shout outs and the comments today while we were during our live broadcast. I appreciate it. And thank you for the support. But yeah, watching those time-lapse videos, I always say I'm not creative and I can work a computer, but not a Photoshop and barely the editing I do.
Right.
And to see what goes into making one genuinely professional, great-looking image.
It's nice to have people
It's just
working on your side
unbelievable.
like that. Yeah, I mean, they made a cool poster for me, just to give away for like clinics or lessons. If people take the lesson, I'll give them a poster and thank them for hanging out with me for the day or whatever. And you know, just a random idea. You know, he showed me this picture. Oh, look at this great photo John took of you at the skins that we did out at Arthur O. Fisher, or whatever it's called, Arthur A. Fisher Park, Arthur O. Fisher, whatever, out in Ohio, around Dayton. And he just showed it to me. I was like, man, that'd make a really cool poster. And then the next day, he's got a box of them, 100. I'm like, wow, thanks, man. Like, I didn't see that coming. You know, he's like, no, just take them, man. You know, give them away. You know, spread the love. Like, wow, that's great, you know, so.
Well, and that perfectly leads to my next question that I just thought of, which is you do a lot to work with people in doing clinics and doing private lessons. Do you find yourself, I know you had a really big push of that a few years ago. Is that going strong? You booked every weekend or every time whenever you're not playing a tournament?
It's starting to become that way, which is nice. It did start out a bit slow, you know, which I expected. I didn't think everybody to just hop on the bandwagon right away and be like, oh yeah, Philo, let's do it, you know, but the idea was that there are people that want to learn and I'm trying to connect with those people, you know, and I just remember the days when I was struggling and I couldn't figure it out and I needed some guidance, and that's all I'm really trying to offer is, you know, I've kind of broken this game down into a very simple theory that works for me that I think is very relatable. And if you think about golf in this theory, it opens the game up to you. It makes it a lot easier to learn and to kind of choose a direction how you want to play the game, you know, and it works. I think it really works. When I start working with people and I'm watching them do it and I get to cheer for them and smile. I'm like, it's so nice to see them do it right.
Well, and it's nice too.
Yeah.
It's validating for you as a teacher
Yeah,
too,
man,
because
in a
you're,
way.
somebody
the
comes
ego
to
is
you.
out of that for me. For me, it's not about
Sure.
ego with that. It's really about watching them do it right and to see them go, I get it. And it's like, yes, that's it. You see how easy it is? And they're like, wow, I was doing it wrong this whole time. And it's enjoyable.
Yeah, and that's what I
cool,
exactly meant
Yeah.
by the validation, where it's
Yeah.
like,
It's
just that
enjoyable.
one little tip, and all of a
It's
sudden somebody's got
genuine,
50 more feet on their
Absolutely.
drive, and you're like, yeah, and they're like, yeah, and you
Yeah.
share that moment.
It's all about fundamentals with me, That's what all of my athletic experience has been about, is learning fundamentals, doing things the right way, and the success will come to you if you stay within the fundamentals,
All right, and any additional tidbits on your gentleman's club experience? Anything you
Wow,
want to share with
man.
everyone?
I don't know what to say about that, honestly. I mean, it's still kind of surreal to think I beat out some of these really super talented guys, It's like, wow, that really happened, And being in the mix the whole time, I mean, wire to wire practically. I mean, the first round, I was just out of body or something. I was really focused and I hadn't played it. I played blind. I didn't see any of the tracks. I had no idea what to
Wow.
expect. But I felt very comfortable because my kind of home course is a disc ball golf course combined.
Okay. Yep.
Very similar in a lot of ways with the fast, fairways and greens, and you got to stop them on a dime after they hit kind of thing. Like, I get all that. So for me, it was kind of like, all right, this is similar to what I used to play every day, what I'm used to playing, 2 or 3 times a week. Throw the same shots, you're going to get the similar results, similar finishes. Just make sure you're aiming correctly and everything should work out. And I just looked down the fairway and saw the best shot in my bag. I threw that shot. I got there, looked at that shot, threw that shot. And I didn't even think about, all this OB or whatever. I just was, I'm looking at the caddy book. It's that far to that tree. Okay, I'm going to throw this disc, and just playing what I see, and not making it so complicated and getting all nervous and, what am I going to do? I just throw the disc straight, and if it works out, great. If I make a mistake, recover on the next shot, get close, make a putt.
Well,
Yeah.
and I had gotten here early, and this leads to a couple other questions.
Yeah.
But I got here early. Steve Rico was already here
Right.
here at the memorial, and he was practicing and warming up. And while he was doing so, he's trying to keep track of his brother Bamba.
Right.
And like you, Bamba just showed up and played blind.
It's awesome.
And I think you take away that extra added pressure. You're maybe thinking, well, I threw it great in practice.
Right,
Now
right.
do I need to
That
adjust?
does come into effect.
It's just
when
you're
you
playing
have
on
that-
natural instinct.
You're just playing your game. You're playing the shots that you are the most comfortable with. That's what you should be doing in those moments. There's no need to, push the envelope when it's brand new. That's what most pros are going to do when they step up to a course. They're going to look at the hole and they're going to think, that's the best shot in my bag for this shot. And then they throw it, and they'll throw it a few times to make sure it feels comfortable, and they'll move on. And that's a really smart way to practice instead of, I'm going to try 7 different routes, and who knows what the percentages are. You're going to throw whatever is your highest percentage shot over and over and over again.
Yep.
And get the feel, get the rhythm, move on to the next one.
Well, and as they say, keep it simple, stupid,
Keep it
right?
simple, exactly, yeah.
So speaking of great shots, a few people have chimed in, and certainly not to overshadow your victory, but
Oh,
there was some
thumber.
ridiculous thumber of
Yeah.
sorts. I mean, that spread throughout the disc golf community.
That was awesome.
You
It's great.
saw it in
yeah.
person.
I mean,
Tell us
I didn't
about it.
see it in
Oh, you
person.
didn't?
Actually,
Okay.
I was on the 16th green after
Okay.
watching Simon throw like a 590, 600-foot roller, putting for 2 on a par 4. And he's lining up his putt, and then all of a sudden you hear this huge roar from the gallery on the 18th green, and we're like, what the heck was that? And they're like, somebody just threw it in for a 2. We're like, what?
Set up
Wow.
set up the hole for everyone.
All right, well, the 18th hole is a par 5, which is kind of a half par. It really could be a
Okay.
par 4 because it's under 800 feet. But
Sure.
the fairway chicanes, and it gets really tight at the bottleneck, and then it opens up. There's a green about 80 feet short of the disc golf green.
Okay.
So the ball golf green plays out of bounds. Most people are going to probably rip one into that like 400 range hyzer over the corner of the lake, if you will, and try to set them up for the straight shot up to the basket, which is from there a solid mid-range if you're a touring pro.
Okay.
Maybe a rock or a T-bird at the most. You don't need to throw anything faster than that because it gets quick OB fast. But yeah, I guess he threw thumber and landed way in that neck of the island and was just looking straight up the hill at it right in front of him. And I saw the video. That thing came in 100 miles an hour, just right in the basket, and It was cool. Those moments are great for us. We need as many of those moments as possible. It's going to create excitement and buzz. And if it's not me, I'm happy for any of my competitors that can create an awesome disc golf moment, you know?
And speaking of awesome disc golf moments,
Right.
they kicked off here. We keep telling them, everybody, with Nate Doss was the first on Sports Center.
Right.
Later in the year,
Right.
you yourself found yourself on an ESPN related Sports Center type moment. What kind of feeling,
Yeah,
you know? And
somebody pinched me. Is this like all real? You know, it's been crazy. You know, like I was saying earlier, 10 years of grinding on tour and really not having a whole lot of success. You know,
Sure.
in the win column, I've had some good moments. I've had some good showings.
Of course.
I've, you know, battled and hung around and, you know, tried to gain the respect of the competitors and fans and whatnot, and just really trying to hold my own. And you know, to have a really awesome moment like that, you know, it's really cool that we got people over there looking out for us. Mohammed's a really cool cat, and I met him actually just before Christmas. He came to LA to visit his girlfriend, and we had an hour-and-a-half lesson, and it was cool just to chat with him. He's a super sweet guy, really nice, very humble, excited about disc golf, and he's happy to put us out there. So, I mean, I'm really fortunate in a lot of ways that the guys at the 21-hole salute hired Jomez to come out and videotape, you know, just for them to even be there. And then
right place, right time.
Everything just set up. You know, my buddy called me up. He said, "Hey, man, before you go up to play whatever, I think I was just coming back from Europe, you know, come on over and play this tournament before you head off to the next one." I'm like, "Why not? I'll come hang out with you guys in Charlotte for a week. Let's do it." And, you know, and it's just, I don't know what to say. It wasn't really that hard of a shot.
Sure.
It's straight uphill. You know, I could throw a mid-range. There's not a lot of danger behind it. You know, throw it aggressive and hope for the best. The first 2 times I played it, I bounced off the basket, so I'm thinking one of these is going to go in. And it just so happened to happen. So.
And again, our pal Jomez out there who does unbelievable work.
Yeah.
He's in the right place. He's at the right time. I mean,
there you go.
You know, there's always talk of aces, and they're happening all over. But to get it filmed in high quality.
Absolutely.
And then, as we said, Mahmoud over at ESPN, and also another connection in Joe Canali, who I believe you spoke with from the Pro Tour.
Yes.
Just, we've got these things, and we get these amazing moments.
We're growing. It's building. You know, it's not, you know, I never ever want to be like, oh, look at me, because it's not really about that. You know, I mean, it's really about our sport. I'm happy for all of us that made it on there, and I'm hoping we have many more, you know.
I'm hoping we capture more.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, it's going to happen. It's bound to happen. We're growing. We're building momentum, you know, as a sport, fan-wise, disc golf course-wise. I mean, player members. I mean, it's all growing. So come on, everybody. Let's keep it rolling, man. We're almost there. We're getting attention.
And we spoke of it just yesterday. Last year, we had somewhere around 2,500 or so during our opening day of the broadcast.
Wow.
This year, we had nearly 4,000 people watching.
That's great.
You know, in the first day. So, you know, we know that's only going to build.
Absolutely.
You're here, which is a great precursor to us filming you guys tomorrow.
Excellent.
So now everybody's going to know a little bit more about you and your personality and everything else, and the great sponsorship that we've been working with Booom. I mean, come on, this is perfect.
My personality here and on the course could be slightly different. I'm like Jekyll and Hyde sometimes, you know. I get a little grumpy out there, but it's just me trying to stay focused. You know, I can still smile and talk with some fans and whatnot in between. Most of the time, I'm straight-faced, and it's all about business, you know, on the course.
All right, this guy means business.
Business. I'm
business at Vista tomorrow.
Business at Vista. Look out.
All right, dare I ask, any kind of number? I know you're going to take them as they come.
My goal is 50 for tomorrow. Okay. My tournament goal was to keep it under 200, and I'm doing pretty decent on that right now. So
what are you at, 91?
91. So if I could keep it under 200, that would be like, I think, my best finish at this tournament ever. So really, it's just, I'm going to play my game, and wherever I fall in, it's going to be great. You know, I'm really happy with how I'm playing right now. I'm in a great rhythm. I'm believing in myself, and I'm feeling, you know, like I can compete with these guys. Finally, it's been 10 years, and I'm feeling like I deserve to be here.
You're hitting your stride.
I'm hitting my stride. You know, it's nice. It's really nice.
All right.
I'll ride it out as long as I can.
You should be. Anything you need to say to all of our Smashies out there? This is one of our larger live viewing audiences for a wrap-up podcast. Anything you need to say to anyone out there before we see you again tomorrow?
Just thanks to everybody who supports me, who gets me here, who takes care of me, Karen, Lindsay, and her husband, again, for hosting me at their house by the fountain. Super huge blessing. I mean, wow. A lot of guys spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars to stay at hotels, and just to meet a random family like that and, you know, taking care of me is awesome. Innova Champion for their 10 years of support. And, Dude Clothing, Keen Shoes Kicker Audio Systems hooked me up with some swag earlier this year, which is really cool and exciting. They're probably going to hook up my car a little bit as well.
Nice.
So some cool, exciting things are happening on the side. And the Oak Grove Disc Golf Course, Disc Golf Club. Thank you guys for supporting and having my back all the time. Really, really appreciate that. So yeah, the family back home, all the friends, everybody's out there playing with me and practicing and keeping me going and motivated. Thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
All right. Well, we're going to create some links. We're going to put them out there. You're going to get tagged tomorrow. Hopefully you get all those friends, families, and supporters. Everybody out there, they can, if they're not here in the area, they certainly can tune into SmashBoxx, and they're going to watch you go out there and do your thing.
That's awesome. It's so great that you do this, man. We need this.
All right, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well, there you have it. That is Philo Braithwaite. We're looking forward to seeing him on the course tomorrow. We know that, as he said, he's hit his stride, and he wants to ride it as long as you can. When you find that groove, when you're in the zone, you just want to soak it all in, and hopefully at the end of the weekend be sub 200 on the throws. So pretty exciting stuff.
I'm just hoping he stays in the top 4.
I mean, not that you have any bias because of your picks. Is that right?
I like Philo in general. I've always been a fan, and so it's always good to watch him play well. But this week I have a little more.
One thing I have to do again, I've seen so many players. We talk numbers. I interview them, before the tournament. I interview them during and after, all these different things. I'll admit, I kind of lose. I've already lost track of where I had different people. I think I had Macbeth, which is looking plausible right now, but he's up there. He's contending. Steve Rico's got some work to do. Steve, come on, let's make it happen, little spoon. I believe I had Doss, and I think Schusterek.
I don't know. I'm not sure about Schusterek. I forget, but I know you had. I know you had Doss and Rico.
Is struggling. I think he's right in the Rico neighborhood.
Well, maybe they can hold hands and climb up.
Gonna do it for Yuli's picks for T-Dog. Oh, okay. So I'm sorry, I haven't read all of the lines on the board. I know there was a few messages coming in, but what have we been missing out? Before you go any further, before we go any further, I'm going to send a big shout out again to Rick. Thank you so much, Rick, for the help. We appreciate you being a Smashy. We appreciate you helping out on some graphics and some other things. Everything we can do, it's, all hands are on deck. And when we can get some additional support from people like yourself, it goes a really long way to help us elevate our game. So we appreciate it, Rick.
Yeah, I've said it a dozen times. Terry and I are really good at some things, and graphics isn't one of them.
Yeah, that would be a good way to put it. Which is, Anyway, so the viewership today, Johnny, do we have a rough estimate? I know there was talks of 2,500-ish. I don't know if we crested quite 3,000.
Today, no. Our viewership today, I'm looking at the numbers right now. Our peak concurrent, so the most viewers we had at any one time, 2,251.
Okay.
Which sounds, I'll say this, it sounds low because yesterday we almost hit 4,000. But look back at last year when we filmed the women, our peak concurrent was about 1,500. So,
awesome.
So we gained, what, 40% about? 30%,
sure.
30 to 40%, something like that, just like we did day one from last year. So there's a good bump in the number of general viewers that we're getting.
Well, that's awesome to see, and we'll hit it head on because there's obviously talked about so much. It's fair to say, there was criticism or second guessing, some questioning, maybe some flat out trolling and or name calling, but there was some criticism of us and of the coverage of providing live coverage for women versus this, we'll say, stacked leader card. They're all stacked at national tours, but versus the leader card of men. And I'm just going to boldly say, too bad. We love the women. We love supporting the women. We love showing the women. We could argue all day long about some people say it's really for them or it's not, or it's something they do or don't enjoy as much as the men. We hear all of that. I mean, you're not original in telling us that. If that's your position, that's fine. But we also are very tied to the women, and they're very important to us. And they don't have as many numbers in terms of women playing. there's only ways we're going to grow that. And that's one of those ways, is when you can log on, you can see us featuring the women, talking about the women, and giving them their props for everything that they're out there doing, just like the men. They're in a fierce battle. You talk about the competition. Look at Paige Pierce, down 4 strokes going into today's round, and just kind of battling through, continuing to stay focused, and now she's got a 1-stroke lead. And Katrina had a few struggles here and there, and I don't know, it's all exciting to me. And I understand not everyone's always going to have the same opinion on any subject matter, but that's where we stand at Smashbox.
Yeah.
And we're going to get criticized for it, fine, don't care.
Well, I said to a lot of people, this was a great course.
$50,000 laying around, and we think we can get another crew and can provide even additional coverage on what we're doing. You could write a check, but until then, we want to show the love and the support where we feel that is necessary. And with that being said, I'm ecstatic that we got to cover the women today.
And I'm hearing from the board, and I just went on YouTube, so it's possible that their stats aren't updated. Someone said they saw close to 2,700 concurrent at one point. I didn't get a chance to sit and watch. I was kind of doing a couple other things, so I didn't get to the board as much as I'd like to, but I'm going to go with their number because it's higher.
I'm sorry, I missed that last part. I was reading one of the comments. What were you saying there?
I said someone on the board swears they saw us hit 2,700 concurrent viewers, and so I'm going to go with their number because it's higher.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
And it might be that YouTube hasn't updated all the way, the analytics.
That's possible, too. And I'd like to, SETI111, who's a huge supporter, thank you for making a purchase. We appreciate your support. We appreciate that. Just ordering a disc was awesome, and we appreciate that. But more so, we appreciate that you're a regular and that you're here. And you had just said that we sometimes don't take criticism well, and that it's not necessarily, it's trolling. No, I mean there was a difference. There was some criticism.
Yep.
There was some flat out trolling. There's some flat out name calling. I'm not saying they're all the exact same thing. I'm saying we've got a variety of those, and we hear it. We hear when people yell. I mean, we can clearly see posts. And I'll go as far as just like the Pro Tour with the recent Puttress conversation. People hear what's being said. Just because you're saying something and we don't react, or someone doesn't react and address it and change it to what you want, doesn't mean that we don't take criticism well, or whatever the case might be. And I'm not trying to call you out at all. I'm just saying we hear it, we see it, and we still make the decisions that we do.
Yeah.
Because we can't please everyone all of the time.
Yeah, we can
only please everyone 99% of the time.
How our families the 1% we're not pleasing right now?
I do. So anyway, I appreciate. We know it's funny because a lot of the people who may be logged in today, right now, that are watching this, may be some of our strongest fans and some of our most, Smashies for life or our diehards, and we appreciate that you guys support our decisions. There's clearly a lot of people who maybe come by a little bit more loosely, and they stop in and they're like, what? Why am I watching women? And then they make their remarks and then they move on. So we know everyone's got opinions. We're glad to hear them, but just realize just because someone screams the loudest doesn't mean that we're going to make a decision accordingly. So
yeah, and I'm gonna take slight offense to SETI saying that we don't take criticism well. I think we do. We just respond to a lot of criticism. I made a post out on Disc Golf Course Review, kind of breaking it down, and I said I like to be one of the more transparent groups out there. I think when our viewers know what we're thinking and what we're doing, it makes for better viewers. It makes eventually I'm not going to have to explain something 6 times. One of our viewers, and it's just going to get around. So us responding isn't always taking criticism poorly. It's sometimes just getting that knowledge out there. But maybe there are times that we don't take criticism.
Oh, I'm sure. Of course, there's no doubt that we get passionate and get involved with some of the things that we get wrapped up. We put in a lot of time, energy, and effort that goes largely well underpaid. So sometimes when we do read things, there may be a little bit of personal response to it. Of course, I'm sure there's some of that. A great comment that just came in and said, trying to use other scores as filler. I'm in total agreement with that. And we attempted that a little bit yesterday. it was a little more challenging because the women's scores were coming in, and we can only relay as much as what's updated. So as those volunteers are being used on other parts of the course, if we have a scoring update, I'm more than happy to share it. I can't tell you who's in 27th place in the Advanced Senior Grandmaster Women Division necessarily, but we try to give you as much information as we can as it comes in. And I think that's a great suggestion, and we'll continue to try and do it as best as we can. So
speaking of today's round, we got to watch, as you said, Paige Pierce step up and catch up. And I think that's unfortunately the second biggest story of the day. The first,
and that's because anything can happen in 2016.
Because anything can happen in 2016. You and I had to make sure that you weren't mistaken, and of course you were not. You came out and said at one point that she threw a judge, which is not a Prodigy disc, as we know.
It is not.
It is a dynamic disc, one of the Trilogy family. Mm-hmm. So, and then you later came out and said she was throwing a Harp and a Saint Pro.
Yeah.
Did you were there on the course? Did you get a feeling, or she wasn't really wearing any Prodigy? She was wearing an Upper Park bag.
Mm-hmm.
The Shift, I believe it was.
Friend Madison is sponsored by.
Yep.
And I haven't seen any official announcements from her in terms of a bag sponsorship, but she has been wearing an Upper Park bag.
So being out there, did you pick anything up, or is this just kind of maybe I almost said Madison, Paige's, we'll say, semi-silent protest? Just kind of her saying, all right, I know what everyone's going to say. I'm not going to address it. I'm just going to do what I'm going to do.
Yeah,
I'm putting you on the spot. I know, but
no, that's fine, and I don't mind. I want to make sure that I don't misspeak on anyone's behalf.
No, and this is all projection on our part because we don't know.
Say that again?
I said this is all projection on our part because we honestly don't really know.
Certainly, and there's some things I know and I can share, and some things I know and I can't share. But what I would say to that is, Paige, of course, had a stocked mixed bag today, and it was an Upper Park bag. I think there's some kind of transition that I think is going on, but no one knows all of the outcome or details. And I'm going to say Paige herself doesn't know all of the outcome, all of the details, or what it entails.
Sure.
And that's where we're at. And we've helped kind of continue the conversation about this now for a few months, ever since actually Paige kind of broke with an interesting comment a few months ago when we did interview her. It's going to continue. What it's going to mean for disc golf, what it's going to mean in terms of contractual obligations and legalities, that's to be said. What I can report on, that I do know, is Paige is currently under a contract with Prodigy Discs. And what that exactly means for her and what that means for, some of the obligations and contractual details there, I think that's to be determined.
Sure.
It's interesting. It's interesting to see, when she was throwing the disc. And originally, I just noticed the disc was different from what I'm used to seeing in her bag. And I had turned to her and I said, what disc is that? And she mouthed to me, Judge, unless I misheard that. And she really said PA4. No, she mouthed to me, Judge. And I, respecting our friendship and everything else, I said, can I say that? And I think she shrugged at me in a sense. And from there, that's what I knew.
I thought it was interesting. And
then you went ahead and asked if I was wrong?
I verified with you off camera, making sure that you weren't mistaken. Because at one point I thought I heard you refer to Melody as Melody King.
Mm-hmm. Which, again, I did not.
I know. You were talking about the King disc.
Okay. And for those who don't know, Melody Weibel. I had to think about it because I asked her how to pronounce it. Weibel. She was previously known as Melody King. So I was very conscientious today to not, I have not seen Melody for a number of years. She used to tour around and play quite a bit more. She was obviously known as Melody King to everybody. And so with me not seeing her as a regular on the tour, I was waiting for that time today where I would make the mistake to refer to her as Melody King, but I did not. I was talking about Paige throwing a king, and that's probably where in your head, you're just trying to listen for mistakes on my part.
No,
Your ears are gonna get tired that way.
I know somebody mentioned that they're pretty sure you did say that, but either way,
Oh, maybe I did. Okay, I did. I might have.
Oh, well, I did think it was kind of interesting with Paige, doing what she's doing at this point. There was one point where there was a backup and we're kind of watching, and I saw in the background, I saw Jeremy Rusko kind of milling around, and I was just, and it just kind of made me smile, thinking like, maybe there is something there, or maybe, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen in 2016?
I did just see Jeremy Rusko and Bobby Brown, who are here doing some filming and some other things. And we had that conversation I'll have to keep to myself, but we did have a conversation just prior to the podcast starting. And some of those details could maybe be shared a little bit later. But I did have saw those guys. As you know, we had Disc Golf Answer Man, or Bobby Brown of Disc Golf Answer Man, on the show last night.
Yeah, he crashed our set. Not cool.
What's that?
He crashed our set. Not cool.
They need all the exposure they can get. They want to come on SmashBox, try to generate some new fans and whatnot. I'll go ahead because I see there is a question on the board. Whether it's a question or not, I'll just go quickly sidetrack and say SmashBox New 20 is still working, or should work for you as a new member. So if you're thinking about becoming a new member of the PDGA, type in the code SmashBox New 20, and you get 20% off your PDGA.
Were you mentioning what Country Disc Golf just brought up?
I just saw something about membership code, and from there, that's
membership
what triggered it. I had,
no,
yes.
someone brought up the fact that my membership is expired from the PDGA.
Ouch. Which is funny because then did you say what normally happens?
I said, I think for the past 5 years, Terry has always registered me because we do it in a group, and you tend to send them all in. So I didn't even realize it was expired until someone brought it up today, which is probably good for me because then I don't have a rating that everyone can laugh at. But yeah, I said no, I'm gonna drop this one on Terry, and everyone was telling me I was shifting the blame. So
yeah, that sounds about right. I mean,
I'm all right with that.
You're a big boy, but yes, I normally address that and take care of it for you, and then we square up later. I'm gonna quickly sidetrack Miles. Is there anyone else out in the lobby that may want to step inside the SmashBox, as we like to say?
Well, Miles goes and does his little search for anyone that maybe want to do it. Let's take a look at a couple of highlights that we had from today. There are, these are kind of just random highlights that mostly of the replays that we had done today. The first one, and actually let me do this so you can see which one I'm showing.
Let me get to the right screen. I don't know that I'm in the right spot. There we go.
Well, what this is Paige Pierce walking up to, you're going to have to forgive me because I don't know the holes here at this particular course yet. I know them at the other ones, but she was walking up to what looks like about a 35 to 40 foot putt, and she's kind of lining it up, and I'll ruin it for you, and she's going to make it.
What? Spoiler alert.
Yeah, she drains a really solid putt there, and I thought that was one of the highlights. Most of these highlights are big putts because the women had quite a few long putts. So I believe that actually are there geese in the background? I can't see on my screen. If there are, that's probably hole. Yeah, I think that is the geese hole.
15. 15 is 570 feet, par 3. And I believe that Simon may or may not have made a long putt on that hole for 2. But, so that was prior to, if I'm looking at the right thing, that was prior to her with a less than Paige-like approach.
Yeah.
She kind of does one of those running, leaping jump putts, and she's very effective at them. However, it was
pathetic.
Come on, I wouldn't say pathetic.
No, it was.
Your shots are pathetic, Johnny. Come on now.
For her standards, because she was behind that bench, it looked like she wanted to flip up a little Anheuser and let it kind of just, a little jumping Anheuser. And I think she just got the nose straight down on it, and it just went into the ground 50 feet in front of her. When
Yeah,
she
kind of turned over on her.
Yep.
And you know, it's an Anheuser. She's looking to get a full, you know, Anheuser to Heiser
Yep.
finish there. And it's like it Anheusered, and she just didn't have enough air under it for it to get up. So, yeah, that was hole 15. And then it's funny because I think a lot of us do this as disc golfers, and I do it even as a commentator. I distinctly recall watching that putt, and I kind of gave the old body English turn, like, oh, get in. And it was a solid putt. She saved her 3 there after that less than stellar approach shot, and that just kept her rolling. And you know, and then watching Katrina, I don't know if you've got what else you have lined up, but I would consider it a highlight for sure. Katrina on hole 17.
Possibly this shot.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So
no.
Oh no, this isn't 17. I'm sorry.
Play this.
This is Katrina on the 400. It's basically a 398 or 400 foot hole. She put it up a little bit short, and she dropped down what appears to be about a 45 to 50 footer.
Yeah.
And as you can see, and that's not an easy putt because it right past that basket down to the left is OB, and you see Melody later. She might be the next shot after this. Hit the basket, kind of hit behind it, get up and roll into the green for an OB stroke.
Yeah, I believe this is actually hole 12, and we've said it a few times. Katrina wasn't quite as dialed in as she typically is, and so we saw her on that, and she ran it, and that was it was a great putt. There was no doubt about it. Any other highlights that you got on there for us, Johnny?
Sure. Another good putt by Melody.
Okay.
This one, I believe, this might be hole 3 or 4.
I believe that's actually hole 6.
Is it 6? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, Melody walked up, and I believe
the long par 3.5 ish.
Yeah, and this was for 3.
Yeah, very solid. I'm not sure if we're talking about because she went OB on her drive.
Oh, okay, so it was for circle 4 then.
Are you even watching what we're doing? Oh, I'm just kidding.
I'm trying. Sometimes it's hard to keep up. I see the highlights and I tend to grab them, but this is only the second year this course has been in, so the numbers to me are
I'm
still.
just making up numbers as we go here.
I know. The numbers are still a little rough for me.
Screen.
But yeah, so that was a nice one. And then the other one,
all right.
We got one more putt by Melody, and this was after.
I believe this is in fact hole 2.
Yep.
3. This is 3.
This is hole
3.
Yep. This is hole 3. I knew that one for sure. That this one was hole 3. She is down. You'll have to tell me because I can't see about how far away she was. You were right behind her there.
That's at least a 30-ish footer, 35 footer. But more importantly, it's sitting on top of that, perched on top of that hilltop, that hillside there. And if you miss that, there's a lot of opportunity for it to get up and roll, or to just really get away from her.
Yeah, well,
so
anytime you put plastic on that concrete, it can skip or slide or roll. You never know what's going to happen. And she hits it a little right, and it sticks and stays in. So good for her.
Awesome. Well, very nice. Well, we can wrap that up because if we want to talk about amazing putts, we can talk about arguably the single best putter we've ever seen in disc golf history, your 2001 PDGA World Champion, none other than Mr. Cameron Todd. Careful over there. Put those on, buddy, and step inside the Smash Box.
The Smash Box.
Yeah. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, except for these things are really loud.
Sorry, I can try to. I'm deaf in one ear, so.
That's great.
All right. Hopefully that's a little bit better for you.
That's perfect.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have Cameron Todd here, and Cam, I talked to you earlier in the week, and then it sounded like your elbow and some ailments, may or may not cooperate. What's been going on?
Well, I've gotten razzed about it all week, so let's go ahead and get it over with. I'm an old guy who tried to play pool for the first time in 10 years, and I was playing this excellent pool player. He was pretty much whooping me around the table.
So you beat him with the stick?
Well, yeah, or the only chance I had was at a break.
Okay.
So I was breaking extremely hard, like I could when I was 20s, and it just didn't work. I really strained my elbow, and I went through quite a bit of work after that, trying to get prepared for the tour, building art. I built a shop to build the art in this year. I dug a sewage system for someone, so it was kind of nonstop labor, and it really, stressed it out and fatigued it. So it's not ready, and it was hurting really bad. in the beginning, but I noticed when I started playing, I got some relief. The muscles tightened up and they had some release, and I've been icing and ibuprofen and things like that. So the swelling is coming down. I'm starting to feel a little better. But, you know, at the end of the day, it gets hard to pick up a glass, and it's a nasty thing. But I feel good about how I played this weekend, and I'm still, you know, in there. We got things to come. We'll see what happens.
Talk a little bit about the scores. We saw Patrick Brown here earlier. I've talked to Steve Rico, so on and so forth. Talk a little bit about what we've seen from you for the first couple days.
Well, the first round, I missed 8 putts inside the circle. You know,
You haven't done that in the last 20 years combined.
Yeah, I'm getting pretty bad. I'm probably the worst putter in the world right now.
Come on.
I mean,
I'd put money on you any day of the week still.
Thank you. You know, it's coming back. I'm playing great. I'm driving like a king, believe it or not.
Okay.
I mean, I can't believe it. It's all I have to do is finish. There's a problem with scoring right now, some reason.
You mean like on the PDGA website, or you mean on your card?
Yeah, on my card.
Okay.
You know, in my round, it's the scoring thing has eluded me for some reason, and I've got things to learn. You know,
Okay.
I got to figure out those little things that you do to get a 1/10 of a stroke back. You know, and I'm getting them down. You know, but being healthy is going to be, you know, a good component for that. So we're just trying to get healthy and learn things. I'm learning a lot. Followed the lead card today, and I saw a lot of things that I did back in the day that I kind of just forgot, you know,
Wow.
like put it aside. And I'm like, you know what? If I want to be there, I've got to do that, you know? So it's good. I'm seeing some amazing numbers being shot. At the same time, I feel like I'm playing great golf, but I'm just not getting the job done, and I'm not scoring,
Okay.
you know? And being injured was a significant part of it this year.
Of course.
But I mean, I'm happy with it. There's a long season to come, and you know, hopefully a lot more golf to come. But my number one priority is, you know, 3 aspects of the game: tee pads, fairways, and baskets.
Mm-hmm. Just gotta make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So
gotta make it happen.
we had Steve Rico in here a little bit earlier, and I liken you to him in the sense that you're always grinding. You don't, you know, most nights or most days at tournaments, you don't get done and, you know, get to go lay in a hammock. You're doing some amazing artwork. You guys are constantly setting up shop.
Yeah.
You're constantly taking down, you and your amazing wife, Leslie. You guys are doing so many different things. And I feel like you're probably always on the go. You're always moving. You're always working.
Yeah, no doubt. Probably 4 months before the tour, I was putting in, you know, days from 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. You know, and I think that's why I kind of ruined my arm playing pool. I was more fatigued than anything, you know, from overworking. But I mean, it's just part of the job, and it's, you know, I want to bring something different to the game, and you know, my vision is kind of my artwork, and it's just a stage to show you that, you know, I do have vision, and I want to put that into the game, you know, and I'm focused, like I said, on the 3 components that we need to make it a better game.
Now, you have kind of famously, at least as old school as I am, you've kind of famously been one of those guys talking about smaller targets.
Yeah.
And to the point where you have a prototype, or you have a version or entire production runs of targets, or?
Yeah, it's been a mess.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I've tried to get a patent. It didn't work out so well, you know, and I got boggled down with that. I got it into production, and something as simple as the family that I was working with had an altercation, and it got pulled off the table. So there's just been ups and downs, but at the same time, I see people are on that wave, and they're understanding it. So I am out here talking with people, trying to figure out a solution, you know, and trying to be a part of it any way I can, and offering myself. I don't need, you know, anything from it except to step up to a hole and end up finishing on that basket. That's what I want to see. I don't, you know, I mean, that's just my vision and my dream. I want fair golf, but hard, tough, challenging golf, you know.
And I've always kind of jokingly thought, yeah, sure, it's the Wysocki's and the Macbeths and the Cam Todds that say, let's make smaller baskets. Well, you guys are always dialed in.
Okay, I know, and that's great, but let's take it from this aspect. Let's think about the people that have great upshots and a horrible putt.
Sure.
they're not really included in the game as much right now because I believe the upshot is about 12% of the game.
True.
And I think putting is about 40, 50% of the game, something like that. So you're basically excluding the guy that has an amazing upshot and no putt. So the guy that doesn't have that great of an upshot but an amazing putt, he gets both of those characteristics. And I think it should be more of a 30% each, fundamental should count for the game. So basically, if you have a guy that can throw a 250-foot shot out of the woods and hyzer, put it within 10 or 15 feet of the basket, he may get that stroke instead of somebody hacking it out 40, 50 feet and catching that putt.
Sure. And that makes perfect sense. And there's obviously, with how passionate you've been about it, there's more logic to it than people just saying, oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. I totally understand that. Now, it was a lot of years ago, not to date ourselves, but it was a lot of years ago when you guys were on tour in one or two different vans traveling around the country. And little known fact out there, you stayed at one of our apartments. Me and my buddy were running an apartment complex in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Yes.
You guys came to town for
Yes.
the Rumbletown Classic at the time. And you had a whole slew of people as part of this caravan. You and Jay and Des Redding also.
Yeah.
And
Iqbal.
The Winnie crew.
yeah, and the Winnie crew was in town. What, Johnny V, do you remember what year that was?
Oh, that had to be 98 or
Nope.
99.
Nope. At 2000.
2000,
and
yep,
above.
yep.
So 2000, 2001 was really the years. I started touring in 2000. I started playing in 98.
Yep.
So I didn't officially go on tour until 2000. But that's when we came by the apartments and had the world distance bottle flicking contest, if you don't remember. And I think I actually flicked one over 200 feet, but a light pole got in the way, and we had to make a, executive decision to say that was a pretty long flick. But yeah, we had
they were
some, we had
playing.
some
They were
fun
playing
times.
object frisbee bottle flicking or something like that. So you, for a number of years, had backed off of the tour, and then you guys took another leap of faith. You and Leslie decided, you're gonna sell off most of your stuff, and you're gonna hop in the road with your amazing artwork, and you're gonna get back on the tour. What are we in the second or third year of that?
We're in the second. We started last year in June. Leslie ran a studio up until the day, that we left. She hasn't played in 10 years. I haven't practiced in 10 years. And, we love the people and we love the game, but life is too short. We had to do other things. And, you come back to what you love. And there's a place in our hearts for this game that nothing else will, replace.
No, when you get bit by the bug.
Yeah, exactly. And, like I said, my biggest reason to come back is to just try to give any input I can in work, labor, whatever, to help the three components that I think need to really push this game. And, I'm giving it my best shot again, and hopefully I get some results.
Well, I say it all the time that one of my joys that I get out of being involved with disc golf is seeing some of the moments. I've seen so many of our world. I've attended Amateur Pro Worlds every year since 1996. I played in 20 consecutively myself, but one that definitely sticks out, not for necessarily all the right reasons, but staying till the very bitter end to watch you get your check and your trophy at your Worlds in 2001. Was that about 1 a.m.? What time did that go down? That was pretty late.
I can remember looking over and seeing about 15 people.
Yep.
And then seeing my brother-in-law snoring on the concrete, trying to figure out why we're still here. But it's got its things, and it's not perfect. But those guys ran a great tournament, and they did a good job, and hopefully somebody learned something from that.
I know I did. I know I did.
That's all you can do.
And again, no, I'm not out picking on them. It's just it was
not.
one of those moments, and I enjoy Worlds for a lot of different reasons, but being one of those 15 people maybe that were there all the way to the very bitter end, it was just something I'll never forget. It was such a unique thing. Like I said, not in the best way, but it was unique.
I think you got the first signature.
I probably did.
Yeah.
That sounds like something I would do.
I think you did.
Well, that's good. That's good. We both, that's awesome. Now, what it was, besides winning that Worlds, do you remember the temperatures? I'm sure. Was that some of the hottest golf you've ever played?
Yeah, I think still to this date, it was the hottest golf I've ever played. Corey Stringer died that year in football practice at the camp. And I just remember being so beat, I couldn't hardly move my mouth or use my brain at all. It was pretty unbelievable. I think I actually probably won because a few people that would have beat me dropped out because of the heat.
Just the sheer exhaustion. There was like 110, 108 with heat index, and it was so humid. And we're in Minnesota. I mean, you're from the south. You would think, I remember, I will never forget your traveling partner and buddy in Worm, who, it must have been probably Saturday or Sunday leading into it, was out practicing and he had jeans on. and again, such a vivid memory from 15 years ago that this crazy guy from the south, Worm, is out there practicing. It's over 100 degrees out, and he's wearing jeans. And he's like, well, it's going to be hot all week. I want to acclimate myself.
That was his training routine. And I tell you what, I actually have seen 10 people start putting on those clothes in the heat just to try to be as good as he was at some point in time.
And it's good to see him more active on Facebook, more active out there playing. It's just great because I think of all you guys that were out on that tour and traveled around and were really pioneering some of the original tour plans. It's great to see you guys staying involved and getting on it. Pro Tour, I got to ask, I assume we're going to see you at a lot of those events, if not all of them?
Pro Tour, this is
there's so many, I know.
Right, not the World Tour.
No, I'm talking Pro Tour with
Steve Dodge. Correct.
Yeah, Minnesota, Wisconsin.
I think I'm signed up for all those.
Okay.
Steve Dodge, I mean, how can you do anything but love him and support him?
Yes.
I mean, he's amazing. He's got to be great for the sport, and I condone anything he does.
Yeah,
for sure.
And he pays us to say that. So you're welcome, Steve. No, just kidding. No, Steve's been a big supporter, including this broadcast and hiring SmashBoxx, and we love Steve out there. Johnny, do you have any specific memories that jump out when Cam and crew were in town? I can think of another one. I think it's podcast appropriate, but can you think of any other memories you want to share?
I remember partying with Iqbal out downtown. And I think at one point I mooned him. Other than that, it sounds about the right time and age for me. But no, just in general, we had a lot of great people come through our neck of the woods those year or two, and it was a lot of fun. It was one of those things that that's how you get bit by the bug when these guys come in and they're dominant and you just get to hang with them. And I think that's what a lot of people see in the sport.
Yeah, and others have said it on the board throughout the night. One thing that so many people love about disc golf, and that's what we try here at SmashBoxx, is our professionals are so accessible. And you guys are so welcoming and warm and knowledgeable and willing to just share some of those experiences and some of those insights. And we don't see that in all the other professional sports. And I hope that never changes.
I do as well. I have no problem with giving up as much time as I can possibly give to anybody that wants to learn anything, and I can't teach them everything, but whatever I can give, I have no problem giving my time 100%. I mean, because it keeps me on my game as well. It lets me go rehash the fundamentals that I need to stay on and things that I need to do to improve my game as well. So how can you be, teaching someone and benefiting from it in your own game?
As they say, to teach is to learn twice. I think I heard that once. I don't know, but it's perfectly true. You get that, and Philo talked about that himself. When he's working with these people and they kind of get it, and he gets that sense of, he feels so good for them. Everybody wins in that case. Yeah. But speaking to teaching, I introduced you as one of the best putters. We all know that you are, and that you're gonna get that stroke dialed in again. You came out with a DVD. Is that the easiest way to get it? Is there any kind of digital download as well, or should people just be reaching out and buying your artwork and a DVD?
Yeah, reach out to me. You're going to get it a lot cheaper. We put it on the web, Amazon, just for the world to get it, for people that didn't know anything about it to get it. We didn't put it out there necessarily for all the players to have to go pay $17.99 and we get $2 for it.
Sure.
You know, it's a lot better if you buy it from me. I'll give it to you a lot cheaper, and you know, it's a $0 production. I'm lucky enough to have my brother-in-law help me out. He's the youngest senior director in the U.S. He works for the Beverly Hills TV station. He did an amazing job. He's so busy, but he took on that job, and we did it at a $0 production. And I think you'll be happy, but we did it to see if there was any room for it in the market and we could produce more. Maybe we'll go to some kind of a budget production.
Sweet. And that's The Art of Putting?
Correct.
All right. You gave me a copy, and speaking of being so busy, I know exactly where it's sitting, right on my desk at home. If I played more, I'd probably be more inclined to open it and get to it. I'm excited to still see it. I appreciate you reaching out.
Yeah, you should.
And when I do, I'll give it a review. We'll talk about it,
Awesome.
so more people know about it on SmashBoxx and the Disc Golf Guy.
And it has been reviewed. You know,
Okay.
it was reviewed in the magazine.
Yep.
And it was a pretty fair review. You know, there's some things that we immediately saw and we're like, but, and especially as picky as my brother-in-law is, he's like, double. But I mean, so much time, you know, went into it, and it's all on the side and for free, you know. So I was blessed to even be able to do it. So give us a little slide on it, but I promise you there's some good fundamentals and good techniques. And I also have like aids in there that nobody has. There's things in there that I show you that really will help. It's my way and it's my style, and I couldn't really go into everybody's style. I'm a lot better one-on-one. If you want me to fix your swing, I can do it one-on-one. To tell the whole world how to fix, you know, their swing and come up with ideas on DVD, it's you know, not really plausible.
That's a little more daunting, yeah.
Right.
And if anyone's second guessing any of my discussion about this, go out and find your video. Is it on YouTube, where you grabbed a stack of 30 or 50 putters, and you know you hadn't practiced in quite some time, and you just stack them up in the basket? What did you miss? Like two? One.
And it was because they were stacked and it spit out from them.
See, we need basket. Yeah. No, but yeah, go out and find out. Do you know what you have it labeled as?
And I was surprised. It only took like 5 takes. You know, I mean, I was shocked. But it all felt horrible. It felt like somebody else's arm. But there, you know, when you just make yourself do it and you get in the zone, you put yourself in the practice, it'll happen. You will become someone else, and you will be automatic, and you will do the things that you set yourself up to do. So it's all, you know, it's all determination, practice, and, you know,
make it happen.
Yeah.
And then film it and see if you can beat him. So as I said, that 2 things. One, do you know what you have it titled on YouTube? If somebody wanted to go out and find it, do you know what you titled your video? You practice putting? Do you remember? All right, it's out there. Search for it. Cam Todd's got a video out there.
I'll repost and come up with maybe a clever name.
Okay, there you go. And then 2, when people do find that video and they are impressed, because the first troll is going to say, "Oh, you was like 10 feet away," you know, whatever. How far away were you?
I was 37 feet away.
All right, so 37 feet away, and you only missed one out of like 300 attempts? Oh, 30,
yeah,
okay.
30 something.
Yeah, it's very impressive. I've seen it. So make sure you go out and find it. This guy knows everything you need to know about putting and getting dialed in. You got anything else? I know you got some supporters. You want to send any shout outs? Fans, you know, family, supporters, sponsors?
You know, I love everybody. So you all are awesome in my book. But the fans, oh, wow, I can't thank you enough. You've kept me going, and you've given me inspiration, and you've given me life, and it's awesome. I'm here for you. Thank you so much, and let's change the sport.
All right. Well, that's Cam Todd, your 2001 world champion. My first autograph ever as the champ was crowned at 4:30 in the morning, whenever it was. We appreciate you guys coming by, and
My
we wish
pleasure.
you nothing but the best of luck the rest of the week, buddy.
Thank you so much.
All right,
man.
have a good night.
Right
Thanks.
on. Take care.
All right, so there you have it again. Cam Todd joining us here. Some action around at Duke's. This is typically a really popular hangout. However, once they added in that Fiesta Lakes course last year, it kind of helped people spread out. You know, there's 600 and some competitors here at this tournament, and rather than them all being kind of in a central location, it's really people have sprawled out throughout. So we don't see as much action here as we used to. But let's recap a little bit here, Johnny. We've had
Miles started out with Miles from Paragon.
Miles, huge supporter and amazing guy, and Miles from Paragon, of course. We've had Steve Rico step inside, and future Hall of Famer, owner of Legacy Discs, and easily one of the best players of all time. He's right up there in the ranks. We had Philo Braithwaite join us. We also opened in terms of having Patrick Brown, one of the best Masters players in the world who can dabble in Open on any given day, just as he sees with Johnny McRae. So Patrick Brown, also sponsored by Booom, along with Philo, and now a 2001 world champion.
Just wanders in.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if you got anything else major, but I think that sounds like a pretty good night on this end.
That sounds like a great night. I was just thinking when you asked if I had any specific memories, I have a more vivid memory of playing down in Alabama with I was fortunate back then. There were many mixed cards, and I got to play with Leslie the first round. Yep. We because we were kind of the furthest traveled, I believe they specifically spread us out to each of us got to play with somebody kind of cool, and I was fortunate enough to get to play with his wife Leslie, and it was one of the more.
At the time wasn't his wife.
At the time was not his wife. You're right.
She was. I never thought of this before.
I think they were just dating.
I'm not going to get into all that. No, she was previously Leslie Herndon. She actually walked by and saw him as he was just exiting. But Leslie Herndon at the time. And then she came up to Wisconsin in 1998 and went on to win the Amateur World Championships.
Yep.
And we both have discs signed by them, as well as a slew of amazing individuals, including Jim Oram, Matty O's dad, as Matty O has been discussed tonight.
Rock Searle.
Rock Searle and Brad Hammock and Buddy Paquette, and just a whole slew of
all the charades.
The whole Mobile area and the hospitality we received as college kids was outstanding. So
that was a great week.
We'll take a couple seconds here for I can't always keep on track of the board. Did Justin says, did he say Rico owns Legacy? You didn't know that? Yes, Steve Rico, along with his brother. Bamba Rico owned Legacy Disc, created it sometime 2010, 2011. I remember doing a video blog with them and them handing us their first discs and having us throw rampages, cannons, and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then, I've got time for just, Johnny, I think we got time for a couple other quick questions if anybody else has anything.
We got a little time. There's a couple things I want to highlight real quick. One of them is during the broadcast, we've gone out there and we've said, hey, show us how you're watching.
Yes.
If you're watching on a laptop or a desktop or your 55-inch TV, or if you're in a movie theater and you're watching, which would be really cool if anyone can do that. So what I just wanted to do is real quickly go ahead and just highlight some of the things that we've gotten from them. And these are different shots from what we've got. This first one is from Christina Linthicum.
Yep.
And so this is her watching on her what looks to be a professionally mounted, very nicely above a like a fire, what used to be a fireplace. Maybe it still is. It's hard to tell from the picture. Here's one from Jason Sanfilippo. Looks like a computer monitor in general. Mm-hmm. So that's
back in Milwaukee. Jason and Jenny Sanfilippo,
good friends of ours.
Yep.
Here is one from Kim McVicker on her big screen TV in her, I'm assuming is a living room or a family room.
Yeah, out of Wisconsin. Kim, how you doing? Thanks for joining us.
Good friend of the show and friend of everybody's. This one is Naomi Bierkes, which I'm assuming is related to Paige.
That is yes, that is Paige's mother.
Yes, no, I know that. So she had actually sent a message saying she's really missing seeing Paige out there, and Paige is in college right now, so she can't get on the touring scene quite nearly as enough. And here's a funny one from someone named Tucker Middleton, who I'm not familiar with, but he's watching the women's round in some. It looks like a bachelor pad to me. From looking at when you've got that many DVDs in your living room, you don't have a wife that that can deal with that. So,
or kids that are scattering them around.
Yeah,
the
kids
house.
that are grabbing them and ripping them open and mixing them up. So I just wanted to take a quick second and highlight some of the guys and girls out there who are watching and how they're watching. I think that's important for us to do every now and again.
It is, and we love seeing it. We want you guys to continue to tweet and Instagram and send your pictures in. Let us know how you're taking it in. We know people are going to be having, final day parties, seeing that as well. When there's a dozen or 20 people, I think of it as Super Bowl parties, getting everyone together. I'd love to see, maybe this should be the challenge out there. I'd love to see the largest party of people getting together.
Yeah.
With SmashBoxx on the screen.
Now,
I'd like to see somebody organize that and make it happen.
When they're at a party like that, they should all be watching the big screen TV, but have it up on their phones too.
Yeah, we need all those.
Extra hits. And I guess finally, the last thing, I know we talked earlier about that putt that Paige had hit with the geese.
Yes.
The geese hole. Now, I'm hoping everyone can get the audio of this, but there is there's a wonderful little shot here of I thought it was a funny thing to show everybody.
Okay, well, there you have it. If I believe is that out on YouTube as well?
Yes, I think it is out on YouTube. And actually, people are telling me that they didn't get any audio, including ours, with that. But for the podcast listeners, will get that audio. So
yes, it was in fact, as you said, it was Nico. I don't want to say chasing geese, but it was Nico getting near them, and then they decided. I said during the broadcast they're ornery, and those were probably the same two geese I saw last year.
Yeah,
it's like they're very ornery and they're very protective of that green, and I'm not messing with them. I learned that last year.
Yeah. So yeah, like we said, it's those guys more or less. They might actually be getting audio now, but. Nico picking on some geese that then attack him, and everybody's laughing at him as he runs away from these geese. So.
Well, the question came in asking about Cam Todd and his video. If you got no other better way to do it other than looking him up on Facebook, you could certainly reach out to me, and I could forward the message on to him, and I'm sure he'd be glad to help you guys out. And we didn't even talk about it, but Cam Todd is also, besides his play and his putting, he's also been doing some phenomenal art. He's here. He's been set up this week. And when I was talking earlier about him working so hard, it's because he's doing just that. He's always setting up and taking down this art display, or a whole van's worth of art, I should say, a whole trailer's worth that he has made himself. So, and I have a ton of it. I bought a ton of it back in Charlotte, and I continue to buy pieces whenever I can. It's just amazing. And I know he even does commission work. He was commissioned to do a huge piece of artwork for Nate and Val's wedding, which was presented to them as well. So reach out if you want some unique artwork and you want to support a disc golfer. Cam Todd is the way to go with it. I think he calls it Cam Todd Productions, aka CTP. Clever?
Oh, that is clever.
I like what they're thinking. Everybody wants a CTP. All right, Johnny. I think Josh knows how much we appreciate him over at Booom. The support all week long, as well as tonight's podcast. I'd like to thank anyone else that stepped up and partook in our sponsorship opportunity for presenting the podcast. I'd like just everyone that jumped on board and contributed, whether they won the option to be the sponsor or not for last night or tonight. We had a bunch of people chip in. And every little $5 bill here and there can help us out and do some work for us. So
yeah, we did.
those people as well.
We did get a. I'm trying to find it here if I have it. We did
$10,000 donation.
We got a $10,000 donation. No, we didn't. No,
You
didn't.
forgot to tell me about that one.
Yeah, I'm keeping that one for myself, actually.
Well, you look for that. I'm going to say real quickly. Andy is asked about coverage for other events this season. And first of all, subscribe on YouTube, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram. All those are viable things where you'll see us interacting. So you'll get notifications from those. But real quickly, we're covering the rest of, we're going to be covering the entire Pro Tour. That talks about kicking off at Vibram, moving over to the Minnesota Majestic, and moving over also to the Silver Cup, the Ledgestone Insurance Open, as well as the finals and the Smuggler's Notch Green Mountain Championships. So those 5 events will be live at, and we also have it dialed in to work with Cool Daddy Slick Breeze and the rest of the crew over at Dynamic Disc. So we'll be covering that event as well. Those are for sure. There's 6 live events there, and there's going to be at least another half dozen events where I'll be there in some significant capacity doing recorded coverage, along with some ramped up, video production. So I've said it before. If you're not sick of me, you probably will be by the end of the year. So
it was, you had said every little bit. It was Jeremy Sands who donated at PayPal. He threw us $5, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, it all happens. For those that don't know, you can certainly go out to SmashBoxxTV/support, and then there's a wide open donation button. You can do whatever you want, whether it's $1 or $5 to get a beverage for me tonight, or whatever. No, it's anything you want. We appreciate it. I know we don't push it too much because we're going to continue doing it regardless of your support, but it all helps, and it makes things a little bit easier as we try and grow and improve. The nightly podcast, some of those we will have nightly podcasts at, some of those we won't. It kind of depends on the event and the situation. So as best as we can, we'd like to have them, but
yep.
For sure Tuesday nights. And people are going to be able to support those in greater detail moving forward as well. So, all right, Johnny, I think we're going to wrap it up here tonight. It's been a long day. It's been a long night.
Yeah.
An incredibly long day for me. I'm not going to lie. It's
well,
it was great watching the women play. It was great being out there, being live. But I know we've got 2 more days of it, and I know everybody's excited about it. Let's get those numbers up. If we could get 5,000. I mean, who's doing any work tomorrow? It's a Friday.
Fridays, we should be
Rebecca
getting.
Black tells you how great Fridays are. Yeah, I just went there. So go out and watch some disc golf tomorrow instead. You don't have to do any real work. So let's recap them. For Patrick Brown, Steve Rico, Philo Braithwaite, Cam Todd, Miles Parkhill from Paragon. I always want to call him Miles Paragon.
I know.
And for all of our Smashies out there, our supporters, Rick, Joe, and everyone else that supports us and watches us, SETI111, all of you guys, for Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, that was podcast number 77, which was our day 2 wrap-up and recap of the 2016 Memorial Championships. We look forward to seeing you guys at approximately 2 p.m. Mountain Time tomorrow, where, of course, you can again step inside the Smash Box.